we are coming at you with some season-long fantasy football rankings. The dust is, for the most part, settling from all the opt-outs that have been going on last week. Coming into this week, they have until Thursday at 4 p.m., so they have basically like 48 hours from now to finally opt out for the season. And then from there, everything will be solidified. Had some big news. Biggest news, obviously, Clyde. Damian Williams opting out for the season. So that's going to play a big role in how we got to view Clyde. I had to update all my running back rankings because of that. So yeah, we're gonna get right into it today. QB and tight end. Probably tomorrow, later in the week or so, we'll get to a wide receiver, running back, while fitting in that UFC DFS breakdown for the third week in a row. So if you guys want to check out any of the mock drafts or anything like that, please go to the channel at No Coast Fantasy Sports, YouTube.com, and check it out. Get some info. Let me know what you think. So a lot of these are pretty obvious, but I mean, we got to go through them. Some spots are different than others, of course. One, we got Mahomes. His average draft 18. It's been going in like round 2 right now, but I wouldn't suggest taking him until like round 3, and he's in my tier 0, along with Lamar in my tier 0. Same thing, round 3. Lamar going 2 picks after as my personal preference. The consensus expert preference for his draft position is also 2 points later. I have seen it go like flip-flopped. It kind of depends on the league, I guess. Third, Dak. Wouldn't suggest drafting him until about the 5th round. He's in my tier 1. Kyler Murray going in my 6th round, also tier 1, 59 overall. So pretty much like Dak, Kyler, those like back-to-back expert consensus rankings. This is where things start to get tricky a little bit. So at my 5, I got Russ. I'm putting Russ at 5 because we don't know the health of the running back situation this year in Seattle. So the beginning of the season, it's going to be cloudy for the running back situation. So I want security in their offense, and Russ is like pretty reliable as far as like a fantasy quarterback thus far throughout his career. So we kind of rely on him, kind of lean on him. He's very probable to be there in the 7th round. So that's something you might want to keep an eye on if you want something of consistency, where like he's going to have to throw, he's good on his feet, he scrambles, he makes plays. Like he has everything you want, like ideally in a quarterback for your fantasy results. 6, Deshaun Watson, Houston. I also wouldn't suggest him in their round 7. I got these 3 guys in my 1.5 tier. Deshaun's been like an expert consensus draft position is 66. So that's like mid into the 6th round. Like I said, I wouldn't suggest going after him until like round 7. Next at number 7, we got Josh Allen from Buffalo. I like Josh Allen a lot this year. I like him a lot. His expert consensus draft position is 96. I would take him in like round 7. 96 is like the tail end of round 8, like that 12th pick in round 8. Yeah, I think Josh Allen's this is gonna be like his breakout year. He had like 9 rushing touchdowns last year. Like that's insane. And Frank Gore's not there anymore to take away the like goal line carries. And Singletary hasn't been getting them. They have Zach Moss this year, so you can see like Zach Moss taking that Frank Gore role. But I think Josh, with the weapons he has now, with how they're going to spread the field with Diggs, I think he's going to have like a lot more running lanes and play probability to make plays happen for himself. Drew Brees, New Orleans, number 8. Probably take him in like round 8. He's top of my tier 2. I think there's no explanation for my tier 2 at all. Number 9, Matt Ryan, Atlanta, also round 8. 10, Tom Brady, Tampa, round 9. I would probably put like Tom over Ryan, like maybe next year, but just being first year in the offense and not having a preseason, you can't grade him that highly, I guess. At least in my opinion. 11, Rodgers, Green Bay. Rounding out my tier 2 over there and taking around 9. Next, my tier 2.5. These are the 2 possible comeback player of the year quarterbacks, and really round out like the QB1 of where you want to be at. So number 12 is Ben Roethlisberger, round 11. And then 13, Matt Stafford from Detroit, also round 11. Expert consensus has Stafford going ahead of Ben Roethlisberger. I do like Roethlisberger a little more, strictly based on how dynamic his offense is, and I feel he's got a better system around him and playmakers on the defensive end as well. But Matt Stafford will definitely have to make it happen all year, so that's where you can make these guys almost interchangeable. But I have them pretty much neck and neck, but I like Roethlisberger a little more. Next, we start getting into the QB2 range, tier 3. So 14, we got Carson Wentz, Philadelphia, round 12. 15, Cam Newton, New England, definitely round 12, tier 3. I like Cam a lot. I think we're going to see a lot going on differently from plays we haven't seen either the Patriots run nor Cam. So I think with the football minds that we have of Josh McDaniels and Billy B, Cam's going to have some wild stuff to do. They do have the most players to opt out so far. They have 9. So that's it's pretty damning. But, yeah, we'll see. I still think he can make it happen. 16, we got Daniel Jones. I should probably move Daniel Jones down in his tier 4, to be honest. They do have a really tough first couple games, but after that, his season lightens up. So I could see him doing well after that first quarter of the season and then tapering off. So if your quarterback goes down in the first couple games, God forbid, just know Daniel Jones is someone better to have on that back burner. 17, Ryan Tannehill. It's a Tennessee. If I can spell that, be nice. Round 15, tier 3. He's the last one in my tier 3. I just don't think he has enough passing volume as some of these other guys. Or enough volume as Carson Wentz is going to get volume, Cam Newton's going to get volume, Daniel Jones is going to get volume, Ryan Tannehill's going to run first offense. Jared Goff, the offensive line's not great. That's why I have him at 18, but he does have some awesome weapons like Tyler Higbee, Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods. So keep that in mind if you are in a 2-quarterback league. I think these guys are definitely in that top tier where you probably want for your later end QB2. 19, Baker Mayfield. New coach again. The offensive line did have some improvements. He's got some weapons. See what Baker does. Gardner Minshew. This is my top sleeper quarterback, hands down, bar none. Gardner Minshew had the most rushing yards out of quarterbacks last year without getting a rushing touchdown. So what that says to me is he has scrambling upside to evade the rush and make plays on his own, and he has positive regression in the sense that he can end up getting touchdowns for you this season, whereas he didn't last season and lacked that. And he is, without a doubt, the number 1 starter this year. Supposedly, they have the whole, tank for Trevor Lawrence thing going on. I don't buy too much into that narrative. Gardner Minshew, even if he's not going to be at Jacksonville next year, he still needs to prove himself and get a job. So I think, I think Uncle Rico is going to make it happen. 21, Phillip Rivers, Indianapolis, rounding out the tier 4, number 2. Run first offense. I'm going to take him until obviously later. These next guys are all for QB2 league necessaries, and they're either not drafted at all or someone to keep an eye on if your quarterback goes down. Drew Lock, Denver, 15 or 22, 23. Nick Foles, Chicago. Supposedly Mitchell Trubisky is going to start ahead of him. No one knows what the hell's going on. I live in Chicago. No one knows what the hell's going on with this cute quarterback situation. Supposedly Trubisky's been training with people, but he's fucking garbage. Nick Foles, we don't know what we got out of him except that he comes in late in the season and brings you back from the clutches of death and wins you a Super Bowl. So we'll see what happens. But Mitch Trubisky should not be the quarterback. It should be Nick Foles. Jimmy Garoppolo, run first offense. Derek Carr, who the hell knows what we're going to get out of Green Day. Teddy Bridgewater, Carolina. This is where it gets interesting. First year, new team. He proved himself well coming out of the Saints. Those games he replaced Drew Brees for the 4 or 5 games. The Saints don't really have like a depth and wealth of weapons. Like they have Kamara and Thomas and like Jared Cook. So I think he's going into like a very similar situation. They're going to be able to utilize his talents. So don't sleep on Teddy late. I do like the QB late strategy and getting one of these like immense later round quarterbacks, whether it's like taking one earlier like Mahomes, Prescott, Murray. Like I would take Josh Allen as like my first quarterback in the 7th, and if I miss out on Josh Allen, I probably won't take one until like the end of the draft. Kirk Cousins, Minnesota, run first offense. Tyrod Taylor / Justin Herbert for the Chargers. We don't know who's starting. We don't know like how this offense is going to look. So this is just like a dart throw. Same thing with Miami. Fitzmagic should lead the run like the first like quarter or so of the season, first half, and then if he's like waning a bit like he usually does, like they might just ride with Tua like the rest of the year and never look back on Fitzmagic ever again. But they do have playmakers. They have Gesicki, Parker, Preston Williams. So yeah, they have playmakers. They have people. Sam Darnold, I wouldn't touch Sam Darnold with a 10-foot pole because he had mono. Joe Burrow, first year, division is really rough. Like really, really rough. Like I don't wish this on anyone, but like I can see Joe Burrow getting hurt, and like I hope that doesn't happen to the guy because like he lit it up at LSU. He's got so much talent. But like he is not in a good position like this first year. That offensive line needs some work, and then probably next year like he'll be in a much better position. Dwayne Haskins, like there's so much going on in Washington. I'm not even get started on it. This isn't the video for that. But I do not believe in Dwayne Haskins. I do believe in Terry McLaurin. I believe in Alex Smith. I believe Alex Smith can possibly beat out Dwayne Haskins for the starting job, and if he does, Washington is shaken up. If Alex Smith is healthy, Darius Geis is healthy, and Terry McLaurin is catching like 13 passes a week because it's probably going to happen. All right, next we're going to get these tight ends. A couple of these, very rudimentary. Number 1, I have George Kittle. I have George Kittle over Travis Kelce. Even though they signed Jordan Reed, they don't have any other weapons right now in San Francisco except George Kittle because Debo's out. Then he already came out and said like this week that he's going to miss some time. So Brandon Ayuk's stock is climbing a little bit. Not anything like crazy where it's like, oh my God, I have to get Brandon Ayuk. Especially because they don't have a preseason or anything. But definitely George Kittle is going to be the number 1 target in that offense. So if you do go like Michael Thomas, and then for some reason you get like Miles Sanders at the early 2, and then like George Kittle falls to you in your 3 instead of getting like your second running back, you can get Kittle like weighing out your roster that way. Isn't that bad? 2, Travis Kelce. Needs no explanation. Mark Andrews. Be wary on Mark Andrews, particularly because he's type 1 diabetic and with the COVID situation. But if he's healthy, he's definitely the tight end 3. Like he played 50% of the snaps last year and he balled out. Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz is going to be the number 1 target in Philadelphia. Jalen Reagor is going to be the number 2. They really don't have anyone else. Deshaun Jackson is obviously a nutcase, and Alshon Jeffrey is not healthy right now. So definitely you can rely on Zach Ertz. Mid-5, not even feel bad about it. Darren Waller. All about Darren Waller. I think they do have a little more mouths to feed, but I think he's like that base of the offense, and I feel like Derek Carr is going to be looking through him a lot. He's also just a playmaker. Like he played very well last season. I will ride that into this season and not care. Gronk coming back with Brady, Tampa. Brady's going to Gronk. It doesn't matter where they are. Like Gronk's going to line up. He's going to run. He's going to catch a ball. It's just him staying healthy. Like, if he's going to play more than 10 games, like, you can rely on him and get draft stock in him. But if you don't feel like he's going to play more than, like, 10 games, like, just don't draft him. Jared Cook, number 7, New Orleans. He was balling out last year. He was doing very well. So, yeah, he's in my 1.5 tier, and I think he's totally fine. Tyler Higbee was emerging with a capital E. E's for Higbees. Towards the last season. He was just crushing it. Jared Goff is looking for him a lot. He's in the middle of my 1.5 tier. Finally, number 9. This is like my tight end to target this year is Hayden Hurst. So Hayden Hurst played the other 50% of the snaps or so that Mark Andrews did not play. Hayden Hurst was very good. Hayden Hurst is going to Atlanta where Austin Hooper is gone. So Hayden Hurst basically plugs in the Austin Hooper role, and you can get him in like round 10. I recommend taking him earlier in like round 7, like maybe that 8 if you're at the turn, and you can get him early 8. But I like Hayden Hurst a lot. Like, he's my tight end to target this year. Rounding out these tight end ones, or these next 4/5 guys. 10 no font, Denver. I think he's going to start breaking out this year. He should have a good season. TJ Hockenson like should be a monster this year if Matt Stafford's healthy. Like, I can see big things happening out of Hockenson. Mike Gesicki was starting to get a good rapport with Fitzmagic at the tail end of last season. So hopefully he can build up upon that. You can get him in like the 10th round. You don't have to invest a high draft capital on him. And like the requirements to be like a tight end 1 is getting like 8 to 10 fantasy points a week, like minimum as your floor. And Gesicki definitely has that to where you can get like 4 to 5 targets for like 50 yards and be content with that. And he has touchdown upside in the red zone. So, I mean, if he gets you 15 points, like if Gesicki can get you like 12 to 15 points every week, you're fine with that. That's definitely in his wheelhouse. 13, Austin Hooper, Cleveland. I would have Austin Hooper at the 12 over Gesicki, but he is going into a new system. He might get a lot more share of the offense and targets if Landry misses time going into the season. So keep an eye on that, especially from a DFS perspective, but we'll start getting into that in like 4 weeks. I'm priming for that. Crap. Life comes at you fast. Now, rounding out the last of what can arguably be the tight end ones is Hunter Henry. We don't know who his quarterback's going to be. He doesn't stay healthy, but he does get a lot of the target share. So he's the head of my 2.5 tier. Jack Doyle with Phillip Rivers. Jack Doyle should have like a very good season. I can see him like emerging this year and having like solid like 12-point floor upside. Jonnu Smith, he could emerge this year as well. He rounds on my tier 2.5 from Tennessee. Tannehill doesn't throw a lot, but when they do, they look for him, and he is a decent run blocker. Chris Herndon from New York. He wasn't staying on the field last year, but when he was doing very well. He was suspended, and then he got injured. Blake Jarwin can be the second like highest sleeper that no one's paying attention to this year. The ghost of the tight end that won't die, has to go back in the booth and come back and decide he wants to play for other teams, is gone. So Blake Jarwin is now the tight end in Dallas. He should get targets. He blocks. He's decent upside. He was getting like 50% of the target share last year along the other side of Jason Witten. He was averaging like 6 to 8 points a game. So if you take away those like Jason Witten targets and he hits like a 10-point floor, that's fine. Eric Ebron going to Pittsburgh. He's taking out that Jesse James role. You can get him at the tail end of drafts. Kyle Rudolph, Minnesota, same thing. Also like Irv Smith, but Kyle Rudolph was having like some big touchdown games towards the tail end going in their playoff run. Ian Thomas, Carolina, with Teddy B, kind of fills in that Jared Cook role, kind of similar athleticism, body type, catch radius. Dawson Knox from Buffalo, he is another like sleeper. Like he was starting to get some target share. He had like one big week or like you can't even say it was a big week. He had like a 14-point week last year, and then just fell off like completely the rest of the season. So he could, if he gets a rapport with Josh Allen, now that they're like moving the ball around, he could probably get some upside. Irv Smith Jr. He's like a tight end 1A 1B with Rudolph in Minnesota. It's one of the two. Like one of them can break out, one of them can't. Finally, a player that I would not touch with a 10-foot pole, Evan Engram. So Evan Engram had the Liz Frank surgery in his foot. He has that screw in currently. That's the same screw that Marquise Brown had last year. Evan Engram also historically does not stay healthy throughout his career. His rookie season, he only played 10 games. His sophomore season, he only played 8. And then last season, he only played 6. So he isn't even trending upwards. He's trending downwards by a sizable margin. By like a 20% to 25% like less games like per year, which is really, really bad. So like I think his talent's there, of course, but I do not want to draft him. Like I don't want him on any of my teams. If you take Evan Engram, like God bless your soul and have mercy on you. But I don't like it. I don't like the position. He's getting taken in like the 7th rounds. I wouldn't even take him until like the 16th round. Like just to have him as like a tight end too. Like if for like COVID reasons, like something were to happen, like fall through plan is the only time I would have Evan Engram. So yeah, that's it. That rounds up the tight ends. That was a little over 20 minutes. So if you watched this all the way through, thank you. Thank you for sticking with me. Please give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like this video, just fucking forget it ever happened. So please like, subscribe. It all goes a long way. I will be reviewing the wide receivers and running backs. Not going to go for kickers and defenses for the season. But yeah, that's all I got. Thank you for watching. Appreciate you guys. Until next time, stay safe.